Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Rabbi Isai, what a daf today. It's mamish geschmack moed. Everybody's going to stand everything. We have gewaldige pictures. If you have an art scroll, take a look at all the pictures on the next Amud. It's geschmack. We have it in color. We have it moving. It's very geschmack. Zog the Gemara. Says the Mishnah. Kochi kedoshim sheshachtem b'rosham mizbeach. So you're on top of the mizbeach, right over here. Are you allowed to shecht over here? So the answer is machlokes. We learned like this. Hold on a second. We have to show the north. So I could look. You know what? I don't have the north. Let's just do it like this. The Oila, Chatos, Osham, Shalmi Tzibur, in this area, right over here. What if you went a little bit past this area? You went on top of the Mizbeach, right over here. Is a kosher. We never spoke about it. So says the Mishnah, we had to paint this. I asked Yoshi to paint it because I just couldn't show the Yisoid well enough. It was blended in. It's all white. It's not the greatest color. I hope he's Michael me, the one that did this. But we need it for today also, to talk about the Yisoid and the Soiviv. That's the ledge on top. So says the Mishnah, Kochi Kedoshim Sheshachtem B'rosham Mizbeach. If you shecht a oila, a chatos, a osham, on top of the Mizbeach, Rabbi Yosi Omer Ki'ilu Nishchatu B'tzafan. I just want to preface this, because who's Rabbi Yosi? We're going to have 3 Rabbi Yosis on this daf, and Rashi, all the way on the bottom of that base, Amud Beis, just sticks in this lashon right over here, all the way in the bottom. He says, Stama dahavi Rabbi Yosi ben Chalafta. Anytime you have Rabbi Yosi ben Chalafta. So it says Rabbi Yosi, Ki'ilu Nishchatu B'tzafan. It's great. You shecht over here, that's in the north. North, according to everybody, is the best part. North means from this wall to the wall of the Beis HaMikdash. Everything, so if you go on here, it's also part of the north. Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda, Omer, Mechatzi HaMizbeach v'ledorim kedarim, Mechatzi HaMizbeach v'letzafon ketzafon. So we're going to take, just for now, take this piece of tape and go like this. Okay. This part right over here is considered tzafon, and therefore you could shecht from this point till here, oila chatas asham. But from this line right over here to over here, you cannot. It's awesome. What's pshat? So one pshat you can think of is that maybe the actual position of the entire mizbeach was on a line. In other words, this part is still in the north of the Azara, and this part is in the south of the Azara. So maybe that's one way to look at it. Or it's Xeris HaKasav. The Torah says you could bring a carbon on half. Omar Rabasi Omar Rabbi Yochanan. Omer Hoyer Rabbi Yosi Kulim Mizbeach B'tzafon Koy. So now this makes a lot of sense. To take a look over here, we have to remember this line. Today's daf is about this line right over here. We have actually a better picture that shows the entrance to the ulam. It's hard to see, but the doorway is right over here. There's a better picture with a better view. This is a bird's eye view, so you don't really see the doorway. You can see the stairs. You see the stairs right over there, the 15 stairs, Shir HaMalis, right over here. This line right over here is midway, the mid door. In the middle of the door, that divides the Azara. What? No. Anyway, there's a line. This line, we're going to be talking about this line the whole day today. This is the midway point. The Mizbeach, the way you see right now, is half and half in the north, half in the south. If you go like this, it's completely in the north. So says the Gemara, the Mizbeach is north of that line, the whole, meaning this top of the Mizbeach, by the way, this top is about twice the size of this room. Think about it. It's 32 amas by 32 amas, probably, right. Okay. I'm saying the bottom, the whole Mizbeach. Okay, you're saying fine. 28 the top. Still more than this. About 60 feet. 60 feet from side to side. I think it's almost double. Come on, double. Okay, huge. And we're talking about the square, not the ramp. The ramp doesn't really count. Where's the square? So Gemara says, according to Rabbi Yossi, the entire square is in the north, like this picture right over here. And Memela what? The first Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi ben Chalafta. Why? And then that's why he says, Ki'ilu nishchatu b'salfa, and that's why you're permitted to shecht on top of the Mizbeach, because the whole Mizbeach is in the north. Umay Ki'ilu. So then why you say Ki'ilu? Ki'ilu means it's as if. It's not as if. It's literally in the north. Now the same be'inin al yerech v'leka. There's a passage that says, V'shachad oisai al yerech ha-Mizbeach tzafayna l'fnei Hashem. Al yerech means on the side. Mashma lon that you don't have to do it on the side. You could shecht the animal on top of the Mizbeach. That's a chiddush. I would think, al yerech, you have to do it on the side of the Mizbeach, on the bottom, on the floor. No, you don't have to do it on the bottom. Omar le Reb Zera, the Rebasi. Elamato, the one who argues on Rabbi Yossi. Who's the one that argues on Rabbi Yossi? Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda in the Mishnah. He says you could only shecht on half of the Mizbeach, on the northern half. The other half is also to shecht. Based on what you're telling me, so it comes out that according to him, we have to do this. The reason why you could shecht in the upper half is because the upper half is in Safon, and the bottom half is also to shecht because it's in the south. Rabbi Yossi says it goes like this, and Rabbi Yossi Rabbi says it goes like this. Okay, fine. According to him, that's how it is. But you said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, listen to these words. We're going to get into this. If you shechted underneath the Mizbeach, okay, that's how it is at the end. In other words, you shechted, you got over here somehow, you shechted over here, this entire area, from here, all the way around. Puzzle. Why? Why is it puzzle? Right now we're saying, it must be, it's not soften. It must be, it's like this. The reason why if you shecht underneath the Mizbeach is because the entire Mizbeach is Darai. So why are you telling me that according to him, hold on, this one. Why are you telling me according to him? It's half and half, according to Rabbi Yehuda. Half in the north and half in the south. How does it stem with the same Rabbi Yehuda that says you cannot shecht underneath the Mizbeach, which would mean that the entire thing is in the south, completely in the south, and that's why if you shecht anywhere, even over here, but it's underneath the Mizbeach, it's possible. Why? Because it's in the south. You're right. Here's the machlokes. They have a machlokes and they're reading the same words, but they came out with a different conclusion. It says you should shecht on the Mizbeach, on the top of the, you should shecht oilos and shlomim. Rabbi Yossi says, he holds, Rabbi Yossi says in this, he holds that the entire Mizbeach is in the north. And memelo you could shecht on the entire Mizbeach oila and a shlomim. Shlomim for sure. But even the oila, which requires north, you could shecht on top of the Mizbeach. Why? Because the whole Mizbeach is in the north. Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda Savar, no. Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda is going to say the entire Mizbeach is in the south. And that's why if you shecht underneath the Mizbeach, it's possible. So how could I shecht on top of the Mizbeach, on half of the Mizbeach? If the entire Mizbeach is in the south, how could I shecht over here, oilos? Because it says in the Torah. It's Gzeres HaKasav. Chetzi la'oila, the chetzi l'shlamim, that you're permitted to shecht on top of the Mizbeach. Even though the Mizbeach is in the south, you're allowed to shecht on half of the Mizbeach. Says Rabbi Yossi ben Chalafta. I hold the Mizbeach was in the north, completely in the north. And Memele you're allowed to shecht the oila and a shlamim. Certainly a shlamim, but even oila. Rabbi Yossi ben Yehuda says, no, I hold the whole Mizbeach is in the south. So if the whole Mizbeach is in the south, how can I shecht anything on top? Because it says in the pasuk, Zevachim so v'shlomecha. Next, says the Gemara, the Isol Kedaitoch, Kulei Lo'ila kosher. If you're telling me that the whole entire top of the Mizbeach is kosher for Oila, Hashem Kulei Lo'ila kosher, Kulei L'Shlomim Baya. If you could shecht kachim on top of the Mizbeach, so certainly you could shecht kalim, which is a lesser madrega. If it's permitted to shecht, look, Oila could only shecht in this narrow area north of the wall. A kalim, you could shecht everywhere. all around the Mizbeach. So if I could check on top the Kachik Kachim, so certainly I should be able to check the Kachik Kachim on top. And what does Rabbi Yossi say? It's Pashat. Itzrich. No, it's not so Pashat that you could check Shlomim on top of the Mizbeach. I have this logic to tell me that you should not be able to check the Shlomim on top, only in Oila. Why? So think about it. Check this out. If you could only check the Oilas in this narrow strip right over here in the Azara, over here not, just over here. So what happens if 400 Oilas show up to the base of English in one day? You run out of area. So the Torah said, you know what? I'll give you, what's the word in English? An overflow area on top of the Mizbeach. But the Torah didn't give you overflow area for Shlomim. Shlomim you can check here, you can check over here. There's no reason to have overflow area. I can use such logic. Kamash will no. I could check the Shlomim on top also. Kamash malon. Great. So we're done with that. We just learned that Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda holds that if you shechted in the karka, possible. What does that mean? Kenegdim a karka. Facing the ground. What does it mean? So I told you it means underneath. But how do we get to that? Perhaps it means, he shefted it on the red, the base of the Mizbeach. Or he shefted it on the ledge, one amma, dangerous to walk on, but you had to walk here to apply the blood to the corners. So maybe he shefted it over there. Says the Gemara, that can't be. First of all, it's part of the Mizbeach. Why? What's the problem? Why is that also? Why are you calling it karka? Why in the world? This is 12 feet above the ground. It's 6 amas in the air. Why are you calling it karka? It's not karka. It's high up. This is karka. It's 1 am above the ground. So now the Gemara says maybe we're talking about tunnels. I don't understand. A tunnel on the Mizbeach is not a Mizbeach. You should make me a Mizbeach made out of ground, out of dirt, out of stone. You can't build a Mizbeach on top of the tunnels. So says the Gemara, so how is it possible, again, that he shechted in the karka? If it's underneath the Mizbeach, we said it's no good. You can't have a tunnel underneath the Mizbeach. What happened was, this Mizbeach, which is 32 amma wide from the base to the base, from side to side, he didn't make it 32 amma. He made it 30 amma, let's say. He made a square. It has to be square, but it doesn't have to be 32 amma. Who said it has to be 32 amma? So he made a smaller square, and now in that area where the Mizbeach was or should be, that's where he shechted. That's what it means bekarka, and that's possible according to everybody. Why? Because according to Rabbi Yossi, that's in the south. It's in the south. So now we start a beautiful sugi here. Rabbi Yochanan says that the entire Mizbeach was in the north. The entire Mizbeach was north of that red line. Pretend this is the door of the Heichel. There's a straight line coming out of the door. And the Mizbeach was north of that line. Is it possible, says Reb Zera, that Rabbi Yochanan says such a thing? I don't see it in the Mishnah anywhere. He went out, searched everywhere, and he found it. He found it in the Mishnah. It's not. So we're going to go through a lot of stuff to get to the raya. It's all geshmak. A lot of it is not important to the actual raya, like this stuff right over here. That what? Beautiful. Today we're going to learn a lot about the Mizbeach. It's going to change everything. First of all, on the Mizbeach, there were 3 fires, as you can see here. It's beautiful the way he did it. This large one, you come up the ramp, you make a right, and you put all the meat, the imurim and everything on this fire. It burns right over here. This we know is the tapuach, that's the ashes, the leftover. What's this in the back? This is the ner tamid, the eish tamid. Eish tamid tukadam mizbeach, there's always a fire here. This right over here, Rabbi, so what is this? This right over here is ketores. This is what we're going to be talking about the entire day today. This right over here. What is this? Where is it placed? Where exactly? So he did a very good job. He put it in a very nice spot, right over here. It looks to me like it's 4 amas off the, well actually, pushed 4 amas northward. From this line, pushed 4 amas this way. He didn't put it on the edge, it's pushed in. And that's the whole sugya. From this guy right over here, from this Ketores, we are going to prove that the entire Mizbeach was in the north, not in the south of the Azara. Let's explain. It says like this. It's not. Biru misham atziteina yofim l'sadim marocha shniya. The shel Ketores. Marocha shniya. This is marocha. This is the first fire. This is marocha shniya, and this is for shel Ketores. What's Ketores? Every morning, as the Braisa, it says in the Mishnah, Keneged Keren Ma'aravis Duroimus. We all know what's this corner name in English? Southwest. Keren Duroimus Ma'aravis. Ma'aravis Duroimus, southwest corner. Moshuch Mina Keren Klapit Tzafon Arba Amos. It goes from here till here, 4 amas. That's the raya right here. Now, it's going to take a whole amud to get to the raya, but it's going to be a lot of fun on the way. Something completely unrelated to our raya. They put a lot of wood, so much wood that when it burns down, we're going to have 5 full saw of coals. Ubishavas. So much wood, more wood, that we should be left over with 8 saw of coals. Why so much? Says Rashi, beautiful, take a look. Let's say you're trying to sweep your floor. You have a bunch of dirt. Then you take not the broom, the other thing, the dustpan. And without a broom, you try to lift the dust. What's going to happen? You start chasing it. It moves away. Says Rashi, that's why you have so many cholm, because you're taking the shovel, and you don't have a wall behind. You want to grab the cholm without any problem, without it running away from you. So if you have a ton, then you just go. And here's a nice depiction that Yoshi made sometime in the middle of the night. It was made out of silver. It's a beautiful kli. Gewaldig. Shesham hayunoisnim. They would burn shnei bazichi levoina shalechem aponim. This is the shulchan. You've never seen a shulchan like this before. These are the lechamim, and those 2 guys that we just saw are the bezichim. 2 spoons made out of gold, full of frankincense. Now, on Shabbos, they would eat the lechem aponim from Shabbos to Shabbos. But they couldn't eat the lechem aponim until you took this frankincense, you took the levoina, and poured it onto the mizbeach and you burnt it. That's the matir. Remember, we learned about it. It's the matir. Oh, okay, so that's all side stuff. Now we're getting there. How do you see from here anything about the Mizbeach being in the north? Rabbi Yosi. So Rashi says, Simona, that this is 4 amas from the edge, from the southwest corner, 4 amas pushed in 4 amas. This is Rabbi Yosi, the Sanya. Rabbi Yosi Oim is this simon. Kol anitol b'fnim linosim b'chutz einoi niton elo b'somuch shein lefnim. By the way, this is all side stuff. Don't work yourself up on it. Just the yisoid in Gemara. If it says einoi elo, it means yes. In Hebrew, it means it's a positive. Einoi elo, it's a double negative, which means a positive. So you would read it without the red. You read noisim b'somuch. Yeah, einoi noisim elo means you put it b'somuch shein lefnim. In other words, we're going to be taught what do you take from the inside and go to the outside. Inside means the heichal always. Outside means the azara. What are you taking from the inside? You're taking from the shulchan, the bezichen. Yeah. I lost them already. Here, these 2 guys. You're taking these 2 bezichen from the inside, where the shulchan is, and bringing it outside to burn it. So he's saying, you gotta burn it immediately, wherever you hit, the first spot you hit. You're gonna bump into a mizbeach, that's where you put it on. And these, whatever I just threw out that's bezichin, the Gemara is going to prove that we're talking about bezichin. And what are you taking from the outside, Rabbi? Say, what do you have already on the outside? You have coals. You take from the mizbeach, you're going to take coals from the mizbeach, the closest, here's the door to the heichal, right over here is the door to the heichal. You're going to take from these coals, not from here, from the closest coals possible. That's also going to get to our sugi. Why? We want to prove where the mizbeach is compared to this door. If I could prove where the mizbeach is compared to the door, then I know if it's in the north or in the south. If the door is over here, here's the door, and it just said that I have to take the coals closest to the door, so it makes sense that the coals are here, not over here, and not over here, but over here. I'm going to come out of the door and grab coals. They have to walk around. That's what he was asking. Okay, ma'aninu. This is not even part of our raya. These are sorry things. What are we talking about here? If you're talking about doing this, taking the blood from the inside of the heichal and pouring it, going from the inside of the heichal to the outside. Whoa! All the music. That's before in the Torah. You should pour it where? Yeah, and you can see over here. You can't really see. We should make it yellow. Southwest corner. That's where he pours the blood. That's Pesach Hayomai. That's by the doorway to the Hayomai. So it can't be Shirayim. V'su, let's talk about the other thing. What's the reverse? You're taking coals. You're talking about the Yom Kippur coals. It says before in the pasuk, it says, you do it in front of Hashem, meaning right by the door of the Heichal. Elos, what's pshat? The Gamri Mishirayim. Okay, so again, we're taking the 2 spoonfuls of the frankincense, we're coming outside of the Heichal, immediately depositing it on the Mizbeach, the first place that you find on the Mizbeach, the first fire, put it over there. Why? I learned from Shirayim. Just like Shirayim, not mamash, you don't put it on the fire. You put it on the bottom, right when you come outside and you're hitting this corner. So you're going to put the levina here on this corner. We're talking about the corner, the area, not the exact placement, because the placement of Shirayim obviously goes in the drain on the bottom. Levina goes on top. Hanido b'chutz, and what's the pshat hanido b'chutz? Linosim b'finim, gechol d'chol yom v'yoyma. The coals that you use every single day on the Ketores, twice a day, you need coals. That's what we're talking about. The Gemara on Megecholim Shel Yom Kippur, we learn from just like the coals of Yom Kippur, they have to be taken from the closest fire, which is this. This is the fire that we take it from, and this is the closest to the door. I'm going to show you all the pictures, and it's going to be very, very understood. Oh, and now here goes the sugya. So, you see the doorway to the ulam? You see the doorway on the left? Now, you see the dotted line? What does the dotted line represent? The dotted line represents the center of the doorway, the center. Now, the entire Mizbeach in green is south of the line. It's on the bottom. So we're going step by step. There's three possibilities. That the Mizbeach was completely south of the dotted line. In other words, touching the dotted line. The northern part of the Mizbeach, the top of the Mizbeach is touching the dotted line and it goes downward south. Or it's completely, the other side of the Mizbeach is touching the dotted line, so it's completely north, or it's in the middle. Those are the 3 options. Now we're talking about, Rabbi Yisai, we're talking about this fire right over here. We're talking about the Ketores. It also, you see it in the picture like this. It's right over here. You see it? A red little box right over here. Now, you see the Ketores in the bottom left corner? Take a look. You see it moving? Moving, moving, moving. Oh. The Gemara says that we move it 4 amas from the edge. You saw that? Why 4 amas? Why 4 amas? Maybe 6 amas, maybe 27 amas. I think it should be 27 amas. You know why? Because right now it needs to be 27 amas. Because in order for you to get from where the Taurus is right now to the doorway of the Heichal, you have to move it a lot. Take a look. You're going to have to move it all the way there. The placement of the fire is in the wrong place. Look at it. It's over here. It shouldn't be over here. If you want it to be next to the doorway of the Heichal, it needs to be over there. How long is the whole Mizbeach? 32. 32 amma. How wide is the doorway to the Heichal? 10. To midway to the doorway is 5 amas. Now, I don't have to go to the midway of the door. I could be all the way at the end of the doorway. I could be at the edge of the door right over here. You see where the laser is? Right over here. That's enough for me. Okay, so I'll take off 5 amma. Because from the mid door, from the dotted line, that's the mid doorway, I don't need to be there. That's a guzma. I could come down the 5 amma. You see this 5 amma here? Erase 5 amma. That's fine. I could still be opposite the Heichal, not being in mid doorway. Right over here. I'm by the Heichal, by this line right over here. That's the doorway to the Heichal. This doorway over here is the Ulam. Don't look at that for a second. But anyways, let's take off 5 amma from 32, because the width of the Mizbech is 32, minus 5 amma that I don't need to go to the mid, to that dotted line. I don't need to be by the dotted line. Where do I need to be? I need to be by the solid line. That's the beginning of the Heichal. So it's 27. 5 minus 32 is 27. Akopanim, the Gemara asks, why is the fire to the Ketores all the way in the bottom over there, and you pushed it up 4 amma? What's 4 amma? 4 amma does nothing for me. I need 27 amma. I need to push it up over here. You know what? Says the Gemara. But the door. Let's not go with the doorway of the Heichal. The Heichal is over here. You see with the laser Heichal over here. Let's go with this doorway. This is a much wider doorway. It's 20 amma. So I'm going to gain another 5 amma. So let's do that. As the Gemara, here there's a new doorway. Let's get to that doorway. 20 amma. So it's 10. I still have to go 22 amma, not 27 amma, 22 amma. Where did you come up with 4? So 4 doesn't work if the Mizbeach is in the south. That's it. That's step number 1. You have to go 27 amma. So if you hold that the ulam is just the entryway to the Heichal, but has a wider door, and has the same dush as the Heichal. And when the Torah says Pesach Oil Mayed or whatever, you have to be by the doorway, should be so it includes that also. Okay, so you gain another 5 amma. Instead of 27, it's 22. But the bottom line is, where did you come up with 4? Oh, now, let's continue. Is the Olam holding with me over here? Okay. Let's say the Mizbech is smack in the middle. You see the dotted line? That's the center of the doorway. Mizbech is smack in the middle. Where's the Ketores, Rabbi Yisai? You still see the Ketores over there? Great. I have to get from the Ketores to the center line. How long is that? It's still, sorry, no. I still need 11. Why? Let's take a look. Half of 32 is how much? 16. But I don't have to get to the center of the doorway. I can, wherever the doorway starts, that's already the Heichal. So let's take off 5 amas for the doorway. I'm still 16 minus 5 is how much? 11. So you would have to move this fire right over here. You would have to move it 11 amas off the edge towards the north. This is north. It said we moved it 4 amma. You got to move it 11 amma off the north, towards the north. So same exact thing that we did before. We're going to gain another 5 amma, Rabbi. So how? We're going to widen the doorway here. The ulam's door is 20 amma, so we get another 5 amma. How much do we have to go? So that's 10 amma. We still have to go. We have to move 6 amma. Where did you get 4? She's boiling amazing. Oh, so 6 doesn't work. Lamaisa, we have an answer for 6. The Gemara is going to give us an answer later on for 6. But the Gemara doesn't tell it to us now. It tells it to us later in Rabbi Yehuda. The answer is going to be, Rabbi Isai, that it's really 6, but you have to minus the 1 of the red and the 1 of the blue. Total is 6.
Which is 4.
It's 4 this way, plus 2 of the blue and the red. It's total 6. It's 6. It's 4 from the edge over here. 4 here, plus 1 blue, plus 1 red is 6. That's the Gemara later. The Gemara doesn't say it now. So the Gemara says, oh, so now check this out. Rabbi said, take a look. Avi, take a look. The dotted line, here's the dotted line. The Mizbech is pushed up completely past the dotted line. Oh, now it's making more sense. Look where the Ketores is. The fire of the Ketores is mamish next to the dotted line. Gewaldik. We're there. We're almost there. But if it's there, so what do you have? Oh, so it's there. So why are you pushing it away from the wall? Leave it on the wall. Why are you pushing it 4 amas? Says the Gemara, no, we're not pushing it 4 amas. We're telling you the limit. Do not go past 4 amas. If you go 1 centimeter past 4 amas, you're going to be past the dotted line. You're going to be past the top line. You're not going to be next to the doorway. You got a problem here. Why? Check this out. Here we go. That's what I showed you before. You need to push it in 1 amma anyway because you have the red yisoid over here. In this picture, it's green. You need to push it in another amma because you have a soiviv. You need to push it in another amma because you have a horn. A horn. A horn is 1 by 1. And you have to be able to walk around the fire without getting your toes that don't have shoes on burnt by the fire. And that's why even over here he depicted it. There's a line around the whole thing. You see the Kohanim walk around there. So that's what we're saying. To begin with, you just lost 4 amma right off the bat. And with the position, here, 1 more amma, we're moving it in 1 more amma. So he's saying, take a look. If you're going to move your fire more than the 4 amma that you already have to move it because you're forced to, you have a base, you have a yisoid, you have a soiviv, you have a keren, and you have ragli kohanim, you have 4 amma. If you move it any further, guess what's going to happen? It's past the doorway. You already lost the doorway. We're in a perfect position. Leave it right over there. Don't move it 1 inch. That's the pshat. We didn't move it 4 amma. It was moved by itself. Just the fact that the mizbech is that size, it was moved. If you were to push it 5 amma, 6 amma, su leko pesach, it's not going to be facing the doorway. Says the Gemara, we're going to do 1 more, Reb Nachum, 1 more. We're going to do the same thing again, Chazarah. So the Gemara, no, it's not a raya that Rabbi Yossi holds that the mizbech is the tzafim. Perhaps it's not Rabbi Yossi, it's Rabbi Yehuda, the Sanya, Rabbi Yehuda Omer. Mizbech memutza, and we had this already. Memutza means the average. The Gemara started off a yisoid on Omer Aleph that the Ketores that's in the bottom left corner. Do you see this box right over here? Yeah? Do you see it? I'm pointing to it with my laser. You see this box? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. The Gemara said it was pushed off this wall 4 amma, upwards, towards the top of the screen. And the question is, why 4 amma? It makes more sense 6 amma, 27 amma, 4 amma. What's the number 4? So the Gemara says, okay, so now we're doing, perhaps, it has to do with the position of this Mizbeach. According to Rabbi Yehuda, the Mizbeach was smack in the middle. Smack in the middle. Half of it is in the north. The middle of the Azar is the dotted line, Reb Nachum. The dotted line is the middle. You see, half of it is in the north, half of it is in the south. So why is the Ketores, that little fire on the bottom, pushed off that wall, the edge of the wall 4 amma? Says the Gemara, the Mizbech is 32 amas. Esra amas connected Pischa Shel Heichal ve'achadesrei amma mikan ve'achadesrei amma mikan. Because the Gemara just does a simple math. You have 10 amma, the doorway, as you see over here, from line to line is 10 amma. Then from the thick line to the top of the Mizbech is 11. From the thick line on the bottom to the bottom is 11. It gets to 32 amma. We just divided the Mizbech in 32 amma. Nimsa Mizbech Mechuvan Keneged Echol. Mizbech is exactly in the middle. So it goes according to Rabbi Yehuda. As the Gemara, it's like we asked before. So if Rabbi Yehuda Chatzri Boy Lemesi. Let's do this again. The Ketairis, in order for it to get to the doorway, you have to move it, Reb Nachum, 11 amma, not 4 amma. Where did you get 4 from? Says the Gemara, because Savak Dushas Heichel V'ulam Chadam Milsi, and if you hold the doorway is a little wider, so we're going to go like this, the doorway is wider, you still have to push the Ketairis 6 amma. Why 4 amma? No, you push it 4. You know why? 4 from the edge. You push it from this point, 4. Plus the blue is 5 amma. Plus the red is 6 amma. That's why it's called 6. As the Gemara, if that's the case, that's a beautiful answer. You just told me it's 6. You call it 4, but it's plus the amma and the soiv is 6. So why didn't you answer that before? When we're talking about Rabbi Yossi, you asked me the question, you went on and you said, oh, it has to be that the Mizbech is in the north. Why didn't you answer that with Rabbi Yossi? Rabbi Yehuda is the one that said specifically that the Mizbech is in the center. Rabbi Yossi never said that. Rabbi Yossi just said you got to move the coals 4 amma, and the coals have to be closest to the Pesach. But he never said where the Mizbech is. Rabbi Yehuda said the Mizbech is in the middle. So according to him, we're going to explain 4 amma plus 2 amma equals 6. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.